we're going RVing. Yes, and this is Adrienne Berg, and this is The Ageless Traveler. And you know, movies like The Leisure Seeker with Helen Mirren and Donald Sutherland, and of course, Nomad that won so many accolades and awards, they give you different views of RVing. And then you've got your neighbor who's got one of those huge, huge RVs right in their driveway, and you wonder, how are they getting along in that for so long? Well, we're going to find out because we are talking about RVing. And let me tell you, this is one of those times that I am responding to you guys. So please do tell me the topics in travel that you're interested in. And we are going to be interviewing a couple that's really doing it. We're speaking with experts Ray and Jason Miller about living the American dream by having the guts and the know-how to go RVing. It's a show about getting out of your own way. And we have so many things that we put in our own way to live our best life. And by speaking with the Getaway couple, Ray and Jason Miller, who did this, who actually made a break, and believe me, at a time of life that was very difficult for most people to break away from the mold. We have a model here, not just for RVing. We'll talk a lot about that too, because it's such an important topic. Lots of people are very interested in this, but it goes beyond that. It goes to you getting out of your own way and saying my favorite line. Philosophically, yes, I love it. Everybody who says it can't be done, get out of the way of the people who are doing it. And that was the spirit with which Ray and Jason did break away from a very traditional life. Not a bad life, in fact, a very good life. That's why it's difficult to break away. And we're going to use this as a model. But we're also going to tell you everything you need to know about RVing, because this is a topic that you've asked us about. So, Ray and Jason, thank you so much for being with us today.
Yes, thank you so much for having us. We're excited to be here.
Well, it's an exciting topic. So I told you before the show that I wanted to break it up into kind of two parts. One is the philosophy of this, and the second part is the practicalities of it. And we'll get into that. How do you finance an RV? You know, where you might go with your RV, all kinds of things. But before we do anything, I do want people to know that this couple has one of the best websites I've ever seen for a how-to. So tell everybody your website, Getaway Couple, and I'll tell them what I find on it because I want them to go there. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it's getawaycouple.com, and we really do try to cover everything from the person who's just getting an RV for the weekend and all the way up to someone who's looking to live full time.
It tells you every little thing you need to know, even how to fix your engine, right? You know, how to select your sites that you want to stop. So we can't do that on this show. But for the people, because there's no time. So the people who really want to do this, folks, you just got to go to that website. Tell them the website again, Jason.
Getawaycouple.com.
Now let's go to the touchy-feely stuff that I like so much. And we'll start with you, Ray. So you made a decision, and that decision was to go RVing. And honestly, you didn't think it was going to be a lifestyle.
We kind of realized, we're not terribly happy, or we're not as happy as we thought we were going to be. Is this what it's going to be like? So that's kind of where traveling came into play. And I do resist change, believe it or not, but we ended up telling ourselves, and this is what really helped me mentally, was let's just go for a year. After a year, we kind of realized, okay, we don't want to go back. I started Getaway Couple because I needed something to do. So I was working, on editing our YouTube videos and learning a whole different world. So it was, what was supposed to be a year is now coming up on 5 years.
Yeah. So one of the things you have to acknowledge here is that we're in a world of technology that allows people, all kinds of people, to work from home. I actually have done this radio show from a phone booth in Juneau, Alaska. So there's a certain amount of freedom that we've never had before. Now, I want to bring this to my older audience. I always tell you, get wired. You can work. You can enjoy life in many, many ways. You can express yourself creatively through having a YouTube channel, even having a blog, writing, put your books on Kindle. And I want to just conclude this segment to what I'll call my people. You are in the midst of the best phase of your life. This is not the time to refuse to do what you've wanted to do all your life. And if travel is there, it can be done in many, many ways. When we come back, we're going to get a little bit practical here, though, for everybody who's interested in RVing. And of course, you know that Ray and Jason Miller on their website, getawaycouple.com, they talk about short-term trips too, not just changing your entire life and going on the road. And we'll talk about that when we return, because you may want to take a little sojourn for a couple of weeks and experience RVing. Don't you guys go anywhere. One of the things that we are committed to at the Ageless Traveler is that you know each other, you greet each other, and you share with each other. And there's one way to do it. Join our Facebook salon. We call it a salon because we have the most incredible conversations together. How do you do it? Very simple. You go to agelesstraveler.com. That's it, agelesstraveler.com. And right on the first page, it will say join our salon. Click it. Give us some information about yourself, and you are approved. How wonderful to be able to meet with like-minded people, ask questions, and get them answered. And perhaps you've got information for others, but there's a lot more of sharing than that. If you go to agelesstraveler.com and go to our podcast page, you will see a little red icon that says, leave us a message. Yes, you can ask your questions, even text it in real time. Voice time. It's a voicemail, and guess who gets it? Me. I get it directly, and I will make sure your question is answered on the air, as well as by experts if I don't know the answers, which I usually do. So you'll find all of this and a lot more at agelesstraveler.com. We have Ray and Jason Miller, who have a very, very robust website, getawaycouple.com. From the engine to how you clean your vehicle, you'll find all there. So let's talk about one of the things that is very much in the life of my guests, and that is a pet. In fact, this pet is called Carmen San Diego dog, and they use the Grand Design Solitude, number 375 RES, fifth wheel. One of the reasons was the dog. So how do you deal with that?
Yes. So, part of the big reason we actually chose RVing was because of the dog. It obviously, overseas travel would be a lot harder with a pet, but we have taken advantage of, there are certain tools. There's a temperature sensor that we put in the RV. So if we leave her in the RV while we're gone, we at least know that just in case the power went out at the campground or there was some temperature change, we'd be alerted and we could come back. But if your pet travels well in the car already or enjoys spending extra time with you, which I'm sure they do, I think RVing with a pet is very easy. We see so many dogs. We've seen cats. Believe it or not, we've seen ducks and chickens. So we've seen pigs. People travel with all types of pets in the RV world.
Well, so that's important for you to know, too, because if you do want to travel the world as I do, I'm on an airplane, but I'm usually sitting next to a dog. I must tell you something. So don't think you can't travel even with a pet. But it does become expensive. We've had to do a lot of boarding. And, of course, RVing helps you with that. Now, I also wanted to ask, let's go to Ray for this one. And that's the money, honey. Let's call it my day job, financial advising. At the end of my career there, I began to find retired couples coming to me because they wanted to buy an RV and they wanted to see the best place to take their money from their retirement savings. The kinds of things they were bringing to me were like the price of a very small home, $100,000, $150,000. So you do deal with that, RV financing. Give us a little hints and tips about that.
Yeah, we financed our RV first, and we thought we could get a better deal outside of the dealership. And we were surprised when we did do the dealership financing that they were able to offer us a lower interest rate. So initially, that was our very first tip that we started telling people was if you're trying to get outside financing, that's fine as well, but at least see what the dealership can offer, because some of them have special deals with the banks and they can give you a lower rate or a longer term. So yeah, I mean, Jason is the one who kind of did all the research behind our financing. So if he has any other tips, I'll let him definitely
Well, I'm
speak
actually
to
was
this.
going to throw this over to Jason for a different reason, which I will do now. But first, anything else that we ought to know?
Well, I think it's not only the dealership's the way to go. I think it's give them a chance. So I still recommend shopping around. Check with your bank, check with your credit union. And then we originally were even going to give the dealership a chance. And then we decided, like, all right, whatever. We've already shopped around everywhere else. We'll give them a chance. And they just happened to come in lower than all of the rest. So that was a big surprise to us, because we always assume that the dealerships, whether it's car, RV, or anything, will not have as good a rate as like your local credit union, and they just happen to beat them.
Do so. You know, I'll tell you something. I don't think that you may or may not know the answer to this one. I was surprised you got a loan, and I'll tell you why. You didn't have jobs. So, Trick, did you go for your loan before you quit? Or did you go for your loan after you had done so? I would think that it would be, the answer is go while you still have an income to show on your application. But I'm not sure that's necessary in the world of RVing. What's your take on it?
Yeah, it was definitely get the loan before we changed everything up. Absolutely.
Great. A word to the wise. I was looking at the things that most of the people asked about RVing when they would speak to me about it. And one was the financing. But the other was television. They can't live without Succession, or whatever is the trendiest thing of the moment. What do you do about that? Is there satellites available? How do you watch TV if you have an RV lifestyle?
Yeah, actually, it's getting easier and easier. So some campgrounds actually have cable hookups, and your RV has a spot where, when you pull up to an RV park, you hook up your electricity, you hook up your water, you hook up your sewer, and then you can hook up your cable TV. And then you'll just have to rescan all your local channels. Other than that, if you do like having your specific cable channels that you watch, Dish Network actually has some RV traveler satellites that they're really small, kind of self-contained, and you're just kind of set them out where they can see the sky, and they'll automatically find the satellite and tune to your area. And I think they're relatively inexpensive if you have Dish Network already. It's, like $5 to $20 extra a month for the RV service, and you can stop it when you're done RVing, say in the winter. And so then on top of that, like what we do, we actually just do mostly smart TV streaming stuff. And so we have a little cell phone hotspot that we get internet, and we have our TV connected to it. We watch Netflix and everything.
So as a big picture here, what I want to bring out is whether or not it is FaceTiming with your grandkids, whether or not it is that you actually have your favorite shows and you like to relax that way, whether it is that you are planning to work remotely. It's all available to you. It's a different world than you think. Now, when I said I'm having you guys on the show, some folks said, "Oh, you mean like Nomad?" When we come back, the movie that became so popular, when we come back, we're going to talk about the people you meet along the way, because this is a great part of any travel, by the way. I had a wonderful couple on that actually went around the world. It's called Atlantic Circle. They wrote a book called Atlantic Circle in a boat. And what they were talking about, and it was fascinating, many years ago, they were talking about the people they met, boat people. What they were like, so different than what you might imagine. So we want to talk when we come back about RVing people, new people to meet. Don't you guys go anywhere. Are you culturally curious, but you can't always travel? Or do you have a loved one that you are a caregiver for, and you'd love to see them travel, but they really cannot do so? Well, we have affiliated with Wowzitude. You might have read about it in Forbes magazine. It's the online real-time travel guide. You can actually visit places on your computer, on your telephone, and of course on your TV. Simply go to agelesstraveler.com, take a look at the travel products, and you will see a list under Wowzitude of some of the places you could have gone this week. For example, England, Rome, and all of the places that you feel you just might have missed because, gee whiz, they're so far away. How about traveling to Ecuador? And what about here in the USA? Well, Wowzitude is renowned for bringing real-time travel experiences to your home. And we've affiliated with them because, while we know you never want to stop traveling, sometimes you have to travel from your armchair. It's Wowzitude, the agelesstraveler.com travel product. RV requires you to break the mold and maybe even break with your current way of living. And there are two people who did that, Ray and Jason Miller. They took off and they became what we would call influencers or representatives of the RV industry. They've got a fabulous website, which is getawaycouple.com. You can take a look at that. They are representatives of the solitude lifestyle. They're ambassadors for Grand Design RVing, which is a type of vehicle that they actually use. And they've really made a life of it. Jason, how many days are you in one place? Do you meet people? Have you made friends? And who are these people? As Seinfeld would say, who are these people? Are they vagabonds? Are they philosophers? Are they adventurers? And how long do you keep these relationships? Jump in there, Jason, with regard to this part of your life, and then I'll ask Ray about that as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's the RVing community or RVers in general are friendly. And so it's really what you put into it is what you can get out of it. I'm more of an introvert kind of person. And so most of the time, day to day in a campground, I don't really meet that many people and say hi, but that's also because we're from Los Angeles. And I feel originally Los Angeles, you're just always skeptical of other people. You don't really talk to your neighbors. But when we get out on the road, we see people walking around saying hi to every other person who's sitting outside and being really friendly. So I'd say we're a little bit more intentional about meeting people on the road in terms of we've joined a couple of different traveling communities. They're just membership groups that you can join to meet up with other people that are kind of like-minded. So one of those is Escapees, which is for retirees and older. And then they have another group called Escapers, which is working aged people on the road. And so we meet up with Escapers, and they have Escaper meetups across the country. And then Ray, who is the more sociable one of both of us, can talk about Instagram and how that's really how we reach out to people and meet up directly with people, and have met with a lot of our current friends on the road.
So let me ask you this, Ray. I definitely want to hear about Instagram, but is that also the way that you help influence? And I'm curious, are you celebrities when you drive up to the campground and somebody says, "Oh my God, I know that. Oh, can I have your autograph?" I mean, what's going on with that?
I mean, we definitely we have a YouTube presence and we have an Instagram presence. And so we do have folks that recognize us. It doesn't happen in every campground, but yeah, we have had folks where maybe it's the person checking us in recognizes us, or we're walking our dog Carmen and someone will say, "Hey, I know your YouTube channel." So that's been really actually a really fun way to get to know people on the road, as well as just people who approach us and who know us. And it doesn't feel on our end like any type of celebrity status or anything like that. It's just more so like, "Oh, you've seen our videos on YouTube," and then we'll have a beer with folks around the campfire. Or so that's been a great way for us to get to know people, as well as we just get to sit down and talk to them, and they get to pick our brain about RVing or the full-time lifestyle. But Instagram, I was reaching out to people when we first hit the road, because a lot of people in the RVing community would put in their bio what state or city they were in. And so I would notice that, and I would say, "Hey, you're an RVer, I'm an RVer, we happen to be in the same city. Do you want to go grab dinner or lunch?" And that's how we met some of our closest friends on the road, was me just kind of reaching out to them on a social media platform.
Two comments on this. One, a personal comment, and the other one, a little bit probing. on a personal level, you talked about being a celebrity and not thinking that you're a celebrity. Well, I can't decide to this day, it must have been about 30 years ago, whether this is good or bad. There was a product called Ragu, and probably still there. It's a spaghetti sauce. And their motto was Ragu, it's in there, meaning it had a lot of ingredients, right? So that would be Ragu, it's in there. So one day I was in a store, and apparently one of my listeners was outside and recognized my voice. And I heard from the outdoors, Adrienne Berg is in there, just like Ragu. And I thought to myself, wait a minute, is this a compliment? I don't know. I don't know what that even means. So yes, I get it. I understand what you mean. You have to stay humble. I'll tell you that much. So anyway, now let's get back to the kinds of people that you're meeting. I think it's a curiosity. I mean, there's been this major successful movie called Nomad, and most of the people there had issues in their life. They were escaping something, just like Ray just gave us two websites to go to, two communities, Escaper, right, and Escapee. So that's a big thing. Are they escaping something? Or are they going towards something? Are you finding that these are fringy people or brave people? And I don't know that you have to be only one or the other. But if you could give one or two words on how you would connect this group, what would you call them? What adjective would you use?
I guess if I can only use one or two words, diverse comes to mind.
Brilliant.
A bit.
Brilliant. Well, we will talk more about that when we come back, as well as going through some of the beautiful travel possibilities. I do love the national parks, and I think we can't leave this without giving people some ideas for their bucket list. Don't you guys go anywhere. Do you love national parks as I do? Well, if you're 62 years or older, you can buy a $20 yearly pass or an $80 lifetime pass online. The pass covers entrance and standard amenity, day uses, recreation fees for pass holders, and their companions to more than 2,000 recreation sites managed not just by the National Park Service, but by Fish and Wildlife Service, Bureau of Land Management, Bureau of Reclamation, Forest Service, and the Army Corps of Engineers. At per vehicle areas, this one pass covers all passengers in a non-commercial vehicle. And where per person fees are charged, the pass covers up to 3 adult companions. Now, this is a bargain, and you'll find out all about it in our show notes and exactly where to go online to get your pass. We have with us today the Getaway couple, Ray and Jason Miller. Go to getawaycouple.com for all the bits and pieces and the detailed information if you want to have an RVing life. But this RVing life is really symbolic. It's symbolic of you doing what you want and not putting it aside at any age. Whether you're working, whether you're post-retirees, you can do this. That's really the message here. But for those of you who just want to put a toe in the water, you want to take a couple of weeks vacation, let's throw this to Jason for the minute. Would you just suggest people rent? Where would they go to rent? And also, what was your favorite place that you would say was perfectly excellent for an RV vacation? Your number one pick, let's say.
Yeah. So I think now it's easier than ever to rent, which if you're just starting out, I think is the best way. They have the traditional RV rental companies like Cruise America, and then there's a bunch of other smaller regional ones out there. Or now, in the past couple of years, the whole RV sharing thing has really come up. So they have a couple RV sharing companies that are kind of like Airbnb or Uber, where the person will either deliver an RV to a campsite for you, or you get to just rent their RV. And I think a couple big ones are Outdoorsy and RV Share. And so I think those are the best ways, especially if you want to buy one in the future. You could rent the exact same model that you're interested in.
Test driving, really. It's just test driving that sure. And where would you go if you had your two, for the retiree, the world is their oyster, really, if they're not working. And for those that work remotely like myself, also the same. But for those who have the usual U.S. 2-week vacation, what really knocked you out?
Hard question. Yeah.
But I know you do
So,
a lot of writing about the national parks.
yeah, and I would say, I mean, it all depends on where you're starting from, but if you had to choose one, I would say the Utah National Parks. They're relatively close. They're very diverse. And I think no matter where you are in the country, whether from the West Coast or East Coast or South or Northwest, anywhere, the Utah National Park landscape is absolutely stunning, from Zion National Park and then going up into the mountains, up into Bryce Canyon National Park. It's just absolutely beautiful.
So we didn't rehearse this, but I have said this for years. First of all, I have my second place in Utah. People are shocked, but I come from the East Coast. It's only a little over 4 hours to get there by plane. Of course, now I'm on the West Coast. We drove. We spent every single, for the last 10 years or so, Thanksgiving up there. And the Archers, Moab, Bryce, as you mentioned, Zion. I really do believe that Utah is the most beautiful state in the U.S. And I have no ties to it except for its own beauty. But everybody's different. So let's find out what Ray has to say about this. If you are talking about vacationers, not people living the RV lifestyle.
Yes. Well, Utah is obviously high up there for me as well. But to add a little, diversification here, depending on where you are, Michigan is also one of our favorite states. And we try and loop through there once a year in the summer. It's just, there's so many small towns. We like to go to the Upper Peninsula as well. And the National Seashore that's up there is just gorgeous. And you're surrounded by, 3 different Great Lakes. And if you like craft brewery like we do, there are some of the best breweries that we have been to are in Michigan. So I almost don't even want to say it. We love Michigan so much. We don't want to see it overcrowded, but it is one of our favorite states.
Ray, I mean, on average, how long do you stay in one site?
I would say the first couple years on the road, we averaged about a week in one place. And that's just how we planned our trips. Now we slow it down a bit. We try and stay 2 weeks, sometimes even longer if we feel like it, just because the burnout is real. So when you're moving once a week, that's a lot of moving days, a lot of driving days, a lot of miles. So that's about our average now, is about two weeks.
So I want to throw this over now to Jason because it relates. How do you organize your day? I mean, you are working, you are traveling. 2 weeks isn't too bad. At least you're not going every single day. But have you found, and you said that you're introverted, you like, your comfort's there and you like to be quiet. Have you organized your day in a completely different way? Do you really find yourself with more free time, which is one of the parts of the dream? You tell us what is planned out with regard to that in your day-to-day life.
Yeah, definitely. We definitely have a lot more free time. We know that there's places that we want to see, and we try to schedule seeing those. So it's kind of like we try to get to those, and now we can do it midweek when they're less crowded. Maybe you can get better deals on admission tickets or anything midweek. And so it does take a lot of work. And I would say that's one of the downsides of full-time or even just full-time travel in general, is there is a lot of decisions to make on a day-to-day basis.
Yes.
Yeah. When you're free to go and anywhere and do anything, it kind of bogs you down a little bit when you're not as restricted.
By the way, you've hit the biggest nerve of retirement. When you do have some money, at least enough money for your own lifestyle, and there is nothing impinging on you, you don't have to do anything, it actually can be extremely anxiety producing. It sounds great when you're fettered to an office stool, but that freedom can be a difficult thing. And I am pretty sure that the groups that you're talking about deal with that, and the psychology of having that freedom and having to create the boundaries for yourself day after day. Interesting stuff. So speaking of free, let us finish this way. And I'm going to finish with Ray, but I want to just say something that Jason had said. I asked Jason what is the most important thing he wanted to get out to you guys. And he became sort of like a Nike ad. Just do it, is what he said. Make it happen. And that was succinct, but I'll throw it to you, Ray, to go a bit more into that philosophy so that people will, in the new year, just do it. Tell us, Ray, what you said to me when I asked, what's the one thing that you'd like them to take away?
Yes, Jason does a fantastic job of just putting it in that let's just go.
Yeah,
but the logic behind that is more so the worst case scenario is if you're thinking about this type of lifestyle is that if you went out and did it, the worst thing that could happen if it didn't work out is you just come back to how you're living now. And that's what really got us going. That's what really got us pumped to at least try it for a year was, okay, worst case scenario, if we hate it, we come back and we go back to living how we've been living. So that's kind of my motivation factor for people going into this next year is just go do it, because the worst that could happen is you come back to exactly the position you're in right now.
So as I always say to everybody, there's always another bus. And the fact is that when one door opens to you because the door has closed, you'd be surprised how great that new door is if you walk through it. And I'm going to throw it over to Jason because I love your words. Just go. Let's hear it, Jason.
Just go.
So before we sign off for today, I do want to remind you that we are now the Ageless Traveler in a coalition with a variety of wonderful podcasts that highlight the beauty of being 60 plus. Now, one of them is, one of my favorites, and I'll be on their show. They will have a show on our show. You'll be hearing them very soon. And that is Women Over 70. So please take a look at our show notes. You'll see how you can listen to this terrific podcast. It's very unique. And you know what I'm going to say? Never stop traveling.